Oh yes, and the last thing is that I found an image of a bassoon in different pieces. And luckily for you, I actually have this. I have a bassoon, but it's just a regular one. And you can see that the pieces are a lot less because it's a small instrument and it has less bends. So now I'm going to show you a comparison between my bassoon, that picture of the bassoon, and the semi-bassoon that I modeled, because it can show you an idea of how the parts would be pretty much done. So starting the vocal, we have the regular bassoon, and then we have the contrabassoons, which looks very similar, just a little bigger, and then we have the semi-contrabassoons. Now this one is different because of the way I designed it, so that some things are in the right place. I'll show you later. So you can see that has only one bend, and I'll show you what that is later. The next piece is the lead pipe, and this is something that contrabassoons have while bassoons don't have. With the contrabassoon, the larger one, you have this long piece of metal. There's actually two of them, but you have these braces right here. And it has this U-bend, which because it goes down, you have a water key, and you can also take it out too. And with the semi-contrabassoon, that's what it looked like. So remember when I told you about that thing? Well, this thing right here, that's where it goes from the vocal to the lead pipe. Yeah, this side of the lead pipe, it's just a lot shorter because it's a small instrument. And unlike the contrabassoon where the bend goes down, this one goes up, so it's not going to need to have the water key. And it most likely won't be removable either. So next we have the wing joint of the bassoon, I think is what it's called. And this is where you go into the body. Yeah, that's where the vocal would go right here. And also, if you look closely, you see that this is where the tone holes start forming. And then same through the contrabassoon, you can kind of see right there. Also, another thing is, while this has keys because it's a 4 instrument, and same with this right here, on the semi-contrabassoon, well, it would have it too, but because the theme I did, I didn't do the tonals because it'd be too complicated for me. So just pretend it has a key so you can visualize how it'd be. In fact, here I'll show you what it looks like a contrabassoon. Just imagine that on this, and it'd be pretty much the same thing, except that the contrabassoon, it goes down, it goes up, while the other two goes down. The top of that one bend that the lead pipe went to the part of the body, and only contrabassoon has this because it has those extra bends. And then we have the rest of the, I think, wing joint on the contrabassoon. The next piece is the boot joint, and this is what it looks like on a normal bassoon. On a contrabassoon, it looks like this. Yeah, if you remember earlier, it looks just like the thing that goes on the top of the body and also the other part of the body that went to the lead pipe. And on the semi-contrabassoon, it looked just like this, but because the instruments that could exist, you would get this instead. Because, like I said, it does not exist right now, which is too bad. The second last part of the bassoon is, I think it's called the bass joint, which goes after the boot joint. On the contrabassoon, it looks like this. Yeah, it's that long brown thing. And on the semi-contrabassoon, well, it'd be pretty much identical. This next piece is for contrabassoon. So here's where the bell starts. Now, this model contrabassoon is not the standard colors because this model has all metal with the bell. So, ignoring that difference, here's what the top of the bell starts to look like. The semi-contrabassoon will be the same way. Now, this one, I do admit, looks a bit too flat, but I think it's fine for its purposes. And that's the color that they know are, by the way, with the contrabassoon. The second last part of the contrabassoon is, well, as part of the bell section, only it's the straight vertical part. The semi-contrabassoon has the same thing, only you can see that the brown is actually showing where it actually would be instead of just dull metal. And the last part for all three is the bell. So on the normal bassoon, it looks like this. On the contrabassoon, it looks like this. And on the semi-contrabassoon, it looks like this. Which is pretty much identical to the contrabassoon, only it's small because small instruments. And also, there is some sort of saying that this is actually a repurposed alto saxophone bell, and if that's the case, then this could be a curved A-flat soprano saxophone bell if the instrument were ever to exist. Now, of course, there's one thing missing from these three bassoons, and that is the reeds. And yes, I do have a contrabassoon reed along the normal bassoon. I don't have a contrabassoon because they're expensive and they're kind of rare, but not too rare to be found anywhere because they're used in orchestras a lot of times, at least in the larger ones. So I did measure with these two, and the bassoon is 14 millimeters wide. The contrabassoon is 20 if you pretend that there's no tapering, like no cutoff there at the corners. And so theoretically the semi-contrabassoon reed would be about 17 millimeters in width. So there's that. Oh yeah, and one more thing. So I actually found this image by doing this. So I went to Google right here, and I typed in contrabassoon lead pipe, went to images, and there it is. So if you click on it, that's what it looks like. So now you know where to find it. As I said before, just type in contrabassoon lead pipe. That's how I found it. Or if you found a better way, that's better. And then you hopefully find this. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that my bassoon is black because I think it's how student models are, because if you look at the professional models, they are made of this red to brown colored wood. I forgot to tell you about why I did the bocal like this, and that's because I want to make it so that this part right here, the brown part, is not starting too low, because that's where the tone will start on the instrument. And also, if I were to make this lower, then that would have to be low as well. And also, this would either have to be higher or the bell had to be lower, and that just would look weird. So that's why I did like this. So it's different than the other two, but I think it should be no problem. So there's the 3 designs of the semi-contrabassoon I showed you, and I only did one of them with the more detailed things because, well, the other two are pretty much identical to the bassoon and contrabassoon, just, you know, different size. As in, the open bassoon is just longer than the bassoon, and the undersized contrabassoon is shorter than the contrabassoon. Also, is that I like to one day make this instrument here reality because it's a cool design for it. It looks quite modern, and it can fit very well with the bassoon section. You know, like you have your 2 bassoons, 1 of leads, and a contrabassoon, instead of the standard 3 bassoons and 1 bassoon. Sorry, 3 bassoons and 1 contrabassoon. So yeah. Also, I forgot to tell you that there's a YouTuber named Brett Newton who's also working on this instrument. Only he's doing it completely different because, one, he's calling it a great bassoon because he thinks that name's better, even though I like this name better because it's more modern sounding. 2, he's making like an oversized bassoon instead of like this because I think it has something to do with the fact that I think he wants the bassoon timbre down to lower pitch, if that's what he actually said in his older videos. And the third thing is he's making G because he wants the home scale to be in C instead of B flat, because this thing is in F, so it would be in B flat with the home scale. And I didn't tell you the reason why exactly. It's because with this thing right here, if you look at other instrument fan videos, you know you have your B flat clarinet, alto, and bass clarinets. This is just like a small version of this, but with, you know, 1 bend neck, and it's a 4th higher. So I say things with the saxophones like soprano, alto, and tenor. They're done the same way. And then you go to OOs, you go to COO, English horn, and bass OO. This is a smaller version of this, except with 1 bend vocal, and it's also 4th higher. So I don't see why this can't be done the same with this instrument right here. Yeah, you can see how consistent they are because the lower of the 3 of each family is actually, you know, it has all those curves. The one next to it on the left is just like the large one, only it's a 4th higher and with only 1 less bend, except for the bassoon one has 2. And then you have the higher one being more different because it's a little more a half octave apart. So that's why it's great to make instruments like this in general. And you know, it just makes sense. A lot of Japans actually do this. If you look at like the violin family, you have your violin and viola. Now they're 5th apart, but they're at a different size. If you go to viola profonda, it's a larger viola. Even though it's still like between viola and cello and pitch, it's a lot more like viola in size, and so that's why I do that. And yes, same with the violin family. You have the viola on the middle, the violin on the left, sorry, right, and the viola profonda on the left. And you can see that it looks very much like a viola, just a little larger. And also, it's slightly closer to viola than cello and pitch, so that's also why it's done like this. It may not be the actual reason why, but that seems to be the case here too. Anyways, you get the point. Another thing is that I like to make the thing reality, except that I don't have a 3D printer, so I can't do that unless I, you know, send my SD files to a service that I can actually pick them up without it being too far. And I live in a studio apartment, so it's gonna be hard to fit that anyways, even if I were to get the parts necessary for it. So that's about it. Oh yeah, and maybe you can tell me which side you like more of the 3 versions of the semi-contrabassoon I showed you. I'll show you an example of what someone said on one of Brett Newton's videos. Yeah, for example, this guy said, I feel like the semi-contrabassoon would look better if it had the same shape and style as the contrabassoon. And you know, I did give him the other person a thumbs up because I agree too. Oh, and the reason why I like this because it's not a good idea to show off someone's personal information, and that's why I just, you know, only showed that. So anyways, that's it for this video, so bye.